Welcome to Fantasy Booking. This is the series where I show how I would book an angle or a wrestler or even a pay-per-view. Today, we will be looking into how I would book the road to WrestleMania 37. WrestleMania 37 is the second WrestleMania that will be taking place in the COVID era, and WWE can have some really good routes to take to the grandest stage of them all. Today we will be talking about what would happen if I was in charge of the next few months. We will talk about how I would book Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania 37. I have already talked about how I would book entirety of WWE in 2021. You can check it out in the above iCard. I would be talking about all the championships on Raw and Smackdown. These are the current champions. Alright, let's begin. So, we start at Royal Rumble. 8 matches take place here. 1. The Women's Royal Rumble match. The last 6 are Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. The winner is Liv Morgan. This is according to my Women's Royal Rumble booking. You can see it in the iCard above. 2. Roman Reigns vs Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. I would not have Adam Pearce face Reigns here, rather I would finish Reigns-Owens feud. Reigns beats Kevin clean. 3. Bobby Lashley vs Keith Lee for the United States Championship. Lee beats Lashley clean, ending Lashley's amazing US title reign. This is because Lee needs a title after being booked rather horribly last year. 4. Asuka and Charlotte Flair vs Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce for the Women's Tag Team Championship. This is due to Royce pinning Flair on Raw Legends Night. However, the current champions Asuka and Charlotte retain. 5. Drew McIntyre vs Goldberg for the WWE Championship. Drew wins with a squash match. No more Goldberg in top championship picture ever. Hopefully, Goldberg retires after this. 6. Big E vs Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Zayn gets his rematch against Big E, and before the match Zayn says that Big E winning is a huge conspiracy against Sami. But after a 10 to 12 minute match, Big E again wins clean. 7. Sasha Banks vs Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is the end of Carmella and Sasha's feud, which should cement Carmella as one of the upper mid-carders. Sasha wins, of course. 8. The Men's Royal Rumble match. The last 6 are Daniel Bryan, Chad Gable, Karrion Kross, Jey Uso, Edge and AJ Styles. Initially, as of my booking Men's Rumble match, I would have had Big E win, but since he is now the IC champion, I would rather have Daniel Bryan win. He goes forward to face the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania. Next up is Elimination Chamber. Again, a total of 8 matches take place. 1. Keith Lee vs Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. Lashley gets his rematch for the US Championship, but Lee beats him again clean. 2. Women's Elimination Chamber match. The match consists of Peyton Royce, Naomi, Billie Kay, Bayley, Carmella, Charlotte Flair. The winner is Bayley, and she will challenge her longtime frenemy Sasha for the title at WrestleMania. 3. Asuka vs Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. Shayna moves on from the tag division, and now she faces Asuka for the Raw Women's title after winning a number 1 contenders match. Here, Baszler makes Asuka tap to win the Raw Championship and face Morgan at WrestleMania. 4. Drew McIntyre vs Sheamus for WWE Championship. Sheamus finally turns on Drew after weeks of build, and they have a match here. It's a great 20-minute match, which ends with Drew winning. 5. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin vs The Miz and John Morrison for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Hurt Business has been one of the best things that has been happening on Raw, and since Lashley lost his US title recently, they won't lose the title here. Cedric and Shelton retain their titles. 6. Big E vs Otis for the Intercontinental Championship. Otis fluke wins a number 1 contenders match, and unfortunately, he loses pretty hard to Big E. 7. Street Profits vs Lucha House Party for SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Instead of Rude and Ziggler winning the title, Street Profits retain their title here as well, since they are the best tag team in WWE right now. 8. Men's Elimination Chamber match. The match consists of Shinsuke Nakamura, Riddle, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso and AJ Styles. Since Nakamura has been slowly but surely turning babyface, as they teased a Nakamura face turn last week, on SmackDown, I would have him win the chamber match and turn babyface and face McIntyre at WrestleMania. Finally, we come to WrestleMania 37. This will also be in a 2-day format. Here is Night 1. 1. Keith Lee vs Bobby Lashley vs Riddle for the United States Championship. Lashley vs Lee is a match we have seen many times now, so I decided to throw Riddle in the mix. I think this would work really well, but even then, the glorious Keith Lee retains. 2. Street Profits vs the Usos for SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Bloodline wants more titles, so the Usos go up against the Street Profits. Here, finally, Street Profits reign as tag champions and as the Usos defeat them to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. 3. Sasha Banks vs Bayley in a 3 Stages of Hell match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is the final page in the Sasha and Bayley rivalry, at least for now. In the end, Sasha retains her title. 4. 24/7 Championship. A 30-man battle royal takes place for the 24/7 Championship, where R-Truth enters with the title, and leaves with the title. 5. Finn Balor vs Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. This is to showcase the best NXT has to offer to potentially bring in some new audience. Since Kyle O'Reilly isn't able to win the title for Balor, Cole takes it upon himself to bring the big gold to the Undisputed Era. And at WrestleMania, he does do that as he dethrones Balor and becomes the new NXT champion. 6. Shayna Baszler vs Liv Morgan for the Raw Women's Championship. The Women's Rumble winner faces the Raw Women's Champion. This goes back all the way to Elimination Chamber 2020, where Baszler brutalized Morgan. Liv pulls off a surprise upset and wins the Raw Women's Championship. And lastly, Night 2 of WrestleMania 37. 1. Big E vs Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship. Since Cesaro's former tag partner is challenging for the WWE Championship, Cesaro goes after the Intercontinental Championship. Fun fact, Cesaro has never won the Intercontinental title, which is why I would have made him win the title here. 2. Alexander and Benjamin vs T-Bar and Slapjack vs Miz and Morrison for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Retribution isn't doing anything, so I decided to put them here. However, it isn't enough to finish the tag champions' reign as they successfully retain their titles. 3. Drew McIntyre vs Shinsuke Nakamura for WWE Championship. Drew's year-long title reign comes to an end as Nakamura finally wins the WWE Championship. Some may say that he should have won it sooner, but better late than never. 4. Asuka and Flair vs Royce and Evans vs Naomi and Carmella for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Asuka recently lost her Raw Women's title, and here, she loses her Tag Team Championship as well, as Naomi and Carmella surprise win the tag titles. After this, Asuka could have a short feud with Flair, and then move over to SmackDown to go after the women's title there. 5. Io Shirai vs Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. Again, this is also to hopefully get new audience. Now, Rhea Ripley has been booked rather badly after her loss against Charlotte. She is slowly but surely going back to her former stardom, and she solidifies it as she defeats Shirai to win the NXT Women's title. 6. Roman Reigns vs Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. To end WrestleMania on a great note, Bryan wins the title off of the Tribal Chief, and WrestleMania ends with Bryan holding the Universal Championship. And that is it. That is how I would book the road to WrestleMania 37. Let me know if you enjoyed it and what to book next in the comment section below. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, that will help out the channel a lot. Thanks again, see you in the next one.